Hi guys, Susan Modest here. Today I'm talking with you about Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash because it is the talk of the town right now because of what happened yesterday when Bitcoin value dropped steeply down to, I think the lowest that I saw was someplace around 5,500. I wasn't following it too closely because it's not something that I was even really concerned or worried about. But I think it was around 5,500 that it had dropped to. Now, considering that at some point recently it was close to 7,800, 7,700, 7,500, that is a pretty significant drop for it to go down, basically $2,000 in price. A couple of things there that I would like you to keep in perspective. Bitcoin projections were for us to see maybe 4,000 at the end of 2017, and I'm talking about early in the year. Those were the projections that we were thinking of for Bitcoin. So even if we went to all the way down to 5,000, we'd still be ahead in overall projections. That being said, a lot of people who have investment, who are holding or who are earning more with the thoughts of it climbing, and we have that goal that the next level that we're looking for is that 10K mark that we've been talking about could come as soon as April, March of 2018. So to see it drop like that can make some people nervous. And I want to first of all assure you that it's nothing to be worried about at this point. And the other side of it is people are talking about whether or not Bitcoin Cash is going to replace Bitcoin. And that's causing even more unsteadiness in the market where people are thinking, should I be using my Bitcoin to buy Bitcoin Cash because, everything's flipping and all of that. Well, this is my opinion. And, certainly I follow people that I think are experts in cryptography who understand Bitcoin all the way down to the coding and the chain. I am not a computer specialist. And so, the coding and all of that, I have to sort of rely on the experts in that area. But I am very good at gathering up information and trying to look at different sources and all of that and informing myself. And so I would recommend that you do that as well, just to be an informed consumer of anything, but especially Bitcoin cryptocurrencies because it's brand new to most of us. We're definitely going into uncharted territory. So first of all, let me talk about Bitcoin Cash and what it is if you don't know what it is, because there's a lot of confusion. A lot of people are thinking, a lot of people who are not involved in it are thinking it's exactly the same thing as Bitcoin. So when they see things, they're using it interchangeably. And it's not. Bitcoin is the original cryptocurrency. It's still the biggest. It still has the highest value. It still has the highest valuation. And at this point, it still has the highest peer-to-peer application, which is what it was created for. Bitcoin Cash is an altcoin. So it's like Ethereum and Litecoin and Dash and Monero and all of those, except that it was spawned, I like to say, because it really was spawned, kind of like a parasite, on the blockchain, the Bitcoin blockchain. And so around August 1st, there was that fork, or in that hard fork, the split in the chain that produced the Bitcoin Cash. And the Bitcoin Cash has some features that a lot of people on the surface really like. And of course, the people who were the developers and the pioneers of Bitcoin Cash are really pushing it as filling in the holes that Bitcoin may have as far as speed of transactions and therefore the ability to use it more like a cash system where you could just very easily buy and sell with it. So hopefully it's clear now that it's an altcoin. It has experienced some difficulty with adoption from the beginning and since August 1st. And so right now, the reason why it's had this big surge in value, it is $1,533 at this moment. it had gotten even higher yesterday. Again, I wasn't paying attention to exactly what it was, but a lot of my friends who were doing trading on their own were feverishly watching it because they were capitalizing on trades involving it, which is all good, all smart things to do. But so my understanding is that it had gotten someplace like around 3,000, which is, whoo, the only other one that's ever done that was Bitcoin, right? So a lot of people were maybe understandably freaking out. I'm not for freaking out anyway, but a lot of people were thinking, oh, is it going to overtake and blah, blah, blah. Well, it's not. It's not where Bitcoin is. It is also being asserted by the developers with a very specific motivation in mind, and that for them is money, because about 92% of the Bitcoin Cash blocks are owned by the same set of people, or controlled by the same set of people, who will understandably get filthy rich as Bitcoin Cash becomes more and more adopted. And so that's just the way of the world. That's just the way of capitalism. So I don't necessarily even have a problem with that. Just what I would like people to do is, first of all, understand what each of these things are. Understanding that Bitcoin Cash is an altcoin, and it does have its strengths. But strengths at what cost? And this is where things get kind of philosophical for me. And not everybody is a philosophical Bitcoin user, or that even has interest from the philosophical side of things. But I do. And so, when you think about why Bitcoin was the answer to a lot of the problems that we have with our current fiat currency, a big part of that is decentralization, the fact that there's no bank needed to run this. And while people are talking about block sizes increasing and needing to do that, which is what SegWit was about, first of all, back in August, and then SegWit 2X that was recently canceled, was supposed to take place on November 16th. That's what it was. One of the things that it was looking at, as increasing block sizes to increase transaction speed and to lower fees. But it was rejected because it was not, it didn't have the replay protection that the miners were understandably looking for. And I know some of this might be starting to get technical, and that's not my intention. But with the cancellation, the Bitcoin Cash developers saw that as an opening to then say, okay, well, look, we're not going to get the faster speeds of the transactions. We're not going to get the lower transaction unless you use Bitcoin Cash. And so that gave them the perfect opening to once again push it. So even though it's been around since August 1st, this is why all of a sudden it surged in value. And there's some talk about the Bitcoin Cash originally being bought out in Asia, or mainly bought in Asia. And the Korean market specifically is what they were pointing at. And then once people started seeing the prices rising, then you had that fear of missing out kind of domino effect, where people all over started thinking, should I sell my Bitcoin and get some more Bitcoin Cash? Look, this is rising. Everybody wants to catch the next Bitcoin rise. Everybody wants to get rich that way. And people made money last night. I made money yesterday, or between yesterday and today on Bitcoin Cash, because at the time of the split, if you had any Bitcoin, you ended up with equivalent Bitcoin Cash, so to speak. We ended up with it. Whatever you had in your wallet, you ended up having Bitcoin Cash. So when the values went up with it, I made money. And so, that's a good thing. People were trading and they made lots of money while it was rising. And then when it all of a sudden went back down again last night by a lot, and Bitcoin went back up, then they were able to do trades on that and make some money. Now, this is the way the world goes round because of trading, fiat currency or cryptocurrency. So I'm not worried about it. I just think that people need to understand. They need to understand the differences. They need to understand what influences the market. They need to understand that, cryptocurrency is still a very small boat on a big ocean. And so you're going to feel the waves, the ebbs and tides. And that's why you're going to see that things seem to go down by a lot, then they go up by a lot. And what you need to look at is the overall trend. And so the overall trend for Bitcoin is still for the upward trajectory. And so, you know, this is just one of those things that are going to happen. It's growing pains, and as altcoins are developed, it's going to increase competition, and people are going to end up using some of their Bitcoin to buy into some of these altcoins. And when that happens, if there seems to be a big sellout of Bitcoin, then, you know, it's going to start, the rarity, the supply and demand basically is going to cause the prices of the valuation to go down and causes others to go up. We're going to see it. That's going to happen. So you know what you should do? Learn how to trade. Learn how to trade on your own. And, you know, if you want some information about how to do that, I can help you with that. I can help you with a program that can show you how to make money right from the jump on trading. So definitely consider that, because that is the nature of this cryptocurrency ecosystem. It's going to go up and down. Don't freak out. Do your best to do some research and find out what all of these things even are. Know the distinction. And I don't know if how far I got. Well, let me go back. Philosophically, the reason why I don't like Bitcoin Cash very much, I'll just say it, is because I think that it's deceptive in a lot of ways to people who don't dig a little bit further. So it looks like it has all of the really great features of Bitcoin. And then it talks about increasing block sizes and increasing the speeds and decreasing the transaction fee. So people think, okay, it's a great thing. But what happens is that as they increase the block sizes, and if their plan is to continue increasing block size in order to accommodate all of the new users, then theoretically it becomes more and more difficult for individuals to do that, as they do right now with Bitcoin and currently right now with Bitcoin Cash. So then you're going to have entities that are doing that. And once you start having entities that have control, that's when you start getting centralization. They could call it whatever they want to call it. They don't have to call it the word banks. But as soon as you need these other entities to do it, as soon as individuals can no longer handle the load, that is when it becomes less decentralized and more centralized, and you're getting right back into the banking system and the divide between the haves and the have-nots. Okay, that is my fundamental issue with the use of Bitcoin Cash. That is just mine. Like I said before, I kind of skipped about, please forgive me for that. But you know what I said before is that everybody is philosophical about it, and you don't have to be, but certainly understand so you can make your decisions. And if you're wondering about the whole block size thing, the best analogy that I can think of is if you think about lots of traffic, so that's more users coming in to a highway. And if the highway is very small, then you know your natural inclination is to say, well, increase the size of the highway, increase the number of lanes, and then you can accommodate more cars, and there could be more of a flow, and you have less traffic, you have less of a wait, and it sounds like a good thing until you realize that you have to get somebody in to be able to do that. And that's where you lose some of the decentralized value. So that was a lot of information, and I hope that it made some sense. I hope you got some value from it. I hope that maybe some of your fears about where things are going with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash has kind of been tempered a little bit. All is okay. I'm not worried till Andreas Antonopoulos is worried, and he's not worried. I'm not worried, and we're good. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.